Welcome, everybody, to the Digital Nomad Experts podcast by Beach Commute. You got Jeff and Marissa today, and we're going to talk to you about why the digital nomad life might be the ultimate flex. We've got I think we've got a solid case that we've built here with 14,000 bullet points of why.
So many reasons.
It's actually a lot. There's a lot of bullet points. They're interesting. They're worth hanging around for because they will make you reconsider some of the ways that you value possessions and your time and all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to get into it. We're going to make a good case for you. And in the meantime, we're going to explain how awesome this digital nomad life is. And if anybody's on the fence, we're going to win you over today. That's our guarantee. But before we do that, Marissa, what's up with you? What's going on?
So I actually just recently left Costa Rica and went to a retreat in Sedona in Arizona, and it was as witchy and weird as Jeff was laughing before I even say anything.
I already know what it is, I'm sure.
Jeff,
just
be mindful. We're recording this on a Friday, late afternoon. Jeff is drinking mezcal. That's the vibe we got going here today. I feel like you guys always write us in and say how much you appreciate the casualness, the fun. So I feel like this will be one for you. But yeah, it was witchy. I think it was the very last episode we did of the questions on there was asking why I dislike Europe. And I got into a lot about the energy of locations. And actually, a lot of people have written emails to us that you guys are feeling the energy of places too. We're really grateful. So anyway, I say that because Sedona was also a very high energetic, bizarre place where there's some energy vortexes where people believe you go and have healing. I can't swear by that at the moment, but I could feel some energy whooshing around, and it was cool. Energy was cool.
What kind of energy did you feel? Was that air, or was it? I would call that wind, but what would you call that?
I usually would too. So let me just give a quick little thing, and then I can't wait to get into this topic. It's going to be a fun one. Okay. However, okay, so I was mentioning in the last episode that I feel energy, when things are feeling good. I feel it in my body. I can feel positive energy. I can feel when people are sad, mad, whatever, right? Uh-huh. So when people talked about this energy vortex, I thought I was going to feel similar, just almost like someone feeling excited. I just thought the energy would be kind of high. And I hiked up and I followed the map of where it said the vortex is between here and here. And I went and sat there. And I went with my mom and a friend of hers who also feel energy. And I was I don't feel anything different. I was expecting just this buzzing in my body just to be I feel it. So not that I was skeptical, but I was curious. And I went and I sat for a second. I was I don't really know what this is all about. I just the whole town feels cool. Sedona feels cool.
Maybe you needed drugs.
That also helps. But I can feel some things then. But I didn't feel anything. And then I went and I was I'm just going to go lie down on this rock in this little place, see what I feel. Let me go over here. And then I get, you could call it wind, but I swear it felt different than wind. It felt like a whooshing. That's the best I could say. But, so people said the energy vortex is basically, it's a spiral of energy, a vortex of movement. So once you're up there, you could feel it felt like a movie, an eerie movie where it was whoosh, whoosh. You could hear it and you could feel it swirling in a way that wasn't just straight wind. So it's hard to explain, and I say that because I wasn't expecting that at all. I was just expecting it to feel very almost electric, and I could feel a swooshing circular wind around me. It felt if you were lying there and you see birds circling above you, it felt like that, but air. I don't know how to it was imagine a hurricane swirling, but there's no hurricane and it's very light, but I don't know. It was cool. It was very cool. I don't know. I only got to go to one of them. There's 4 main ones there, and I didn't have time to go to all of them, but that's what I got so far.
You know what drives me crazy is that all of you listeners write in appreciating all of Marissa's energy shit. I get nothing. I get nothing.
No, people love your mezcal.
I get no pickleball stuff. Yeah, I do get stuff.
I love pickleball too. People send you coffee and beer and cafe and restaurant recommendations wherever you go. Yeah. You get different appreciation.
That's right. Oh,
what would you like appreciation for, Jeff?
I don't. Just all the time. Frequent.
Send Jeff appreciation.
Often and in volume. Yeah. There is pickleball here, though. I've given 3 pickleball lessons so far.
You're teaching the lessons there because you want people to be at your level to play with. Yeah.
It would take years. Sorry.
Oh, Jeff is flexing. I want to play pickleball with you because I think I could be just as good, but go on. Jeff is laughing at me. He's like, absolutely not. Jeff, I'm good. Go on.
I'm sure. You're very good. No, there's not. It's small town. There's not a ton of competition here, so it's like I like teaching just as much as I like doing stuff. Sometimes even more. So it's kind of fun to watch people get into it because it's such a fun sport. And when you see that they're getting it, and it's like, all right, now they start playing chess, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now you're having fun.
It's clicking. They're playing with strategy.
When you're playing strategic and constructing points, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, now it's good. And you see clicking on it,
that's awesome.
Okay, now you got another addict on board.
So send Jeff the pickleball love in our email, hello@beachcommute.com. But that's good. Do you feel like there's people who can like play at but like can at least be some fun like competition now? There was one guy that's played for I think like 7 years. He's from Quebec or Montreal. And he was a 5-0 player. And so I played against him very regularly. He was very good, like on another planet. He's there in Puerto Escondido.
He just left, but he was here vacationing for a little bit. He owned a place here, sold a place, and comes and goes and that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
But he was a stone cold 5.0 player, which is just like
solid.
Really close to amateur. I mean, not amateur, but like
professional.
Pretty close, yeah. But he was a lot of fun to play with.
What level are you?
Probably between a 4 and a 4.5 or so.
Okay. Might be slightly better. I don't have a number, but we'll get there.
We'll play together. You'll show me all your skills. It's gonna be
be
amazing.
I will. It'll be fun. So yeah, if you're listening, Jeff is in Puerto Escondido in Mexico. You've been there 6 weeks-ish now?
I don't know. Coming up on I guess 6 weeks. Time's flying here.
Amazing. Still got to get there. Any other updates from PE before we jump into our
saw somebody almost drown the other day. That was interesting.
Good.
Yeah. You haven't been here. Yeah, you haven't been here. Okay, so the break is like huge. It's like in certain parts really good for surfers because the break is the wave that comes down, and I guess the way a wave comes down, where it comes down can make for good surfing. In a particular area, the wave comes down like right on top of the beach and just crashes. Right. Huge waves just crash. So they actually don't surf there because you just face down.
Yeah, too close.
But because it crashes so close, it's got this riptide that just yanks you out. This girl got into it. I mean, like up to your knees, it'll yank you. And she got up to her knees and she went, whoom, and just got like sucked out to Japan. And she was just
my God.
She was on the horizon. We saw her, and they had they had like 3 lifeguards swim all the way out to her with a belt and paddled her back in. It took like a good 20 minutes before she got back in. It was
gonna stay longer. Wow.
Yeah, it was significant. We're like, oh my God, you just don't go swimming out there. It's wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I always feel like I have a bit, but from all of our friends and the posts that I see, it seems like more people gathering to play volleyball and like hang on the beach than to swim.
Yeah, it's not really go get your feet wet, but don't fuck around.
Yeah, try to do too much there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
So that's all I got.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Life's
exciting stuff
there.
happening in Mexico. I love it. Well, with that, so we're going to get into this, but it's a fun format. So Jeff and I were brainstorming. I actually came across an Instagram post that was saying, we'll start with this one as well. The whole post was saying, I forget exactly what it read, but something about like having a fancy car is like used to be appreciated. And now it was saying like not even having to drive to work at all is the new flex. Just an example. And so it got me thinking of like all of these things that like, what did we used to strive for and what do so many people still strive for versus like the life of a nomad and the new flex and see if you agree. So we've got 14 of these. They're super fun. Jeff is going to be drinking his mezcal as we go. So you'll get a fiery Jeff. You'll get a fiery Jeff today, I imagine. And I know these topics get him fired up too. People do write in about your fieriness sometimes. When you get fired up about we do get emails about that. People love, so people do. People write to you, Jeff. Don't you worry. There's both of us. Okay, so let's talk about that first one. The first flex is instead of having a fancy car, instead of the Ferrari that people used to strive for, and some people definitely still do, the new flex is just not even ever having to drive to an office. What you got for that one?
100%, 100%. And I still see this. It's weird. I see these two clear camps when I get into battles on LinkedIn. It's a terrible way to spend your time, but I'm so passionate about it that I do think it's worth talking about because it is a huge like dynamic shift in how people view work at this point. You've got this really clear camp of people that are insanely proud of going to the office. It really makes them feel proud of themselves. Like, I'm going into an office. I'm important. I don't know. I'm just trying to guess what they're thinking. I guess they think that they're important. Because I didn't come up during this time. They're a little bit older than me. Typically, these people that are doing this, but there's like some sort of pride associated with that, and they get in their nice car, drive into the office, and they think that they're important and working hard, right? And I have so many issues with this because I know going to an office does not mean you're working hard. Most of the time, you're not, and people are just conflating being present with working hard, and I don't think there's any value in having that nice car to drive to the office, really. And the whole reason why we're doing this is because we value our time and our experiences way more than we do whatever status that might be. Maybe you could label that self-important thing that's happening in their brain when they say that, because I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me anymore. Or maybe I did and I forgot. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never personally been a car person, but I also think you could also swap this fancy car versus like not even needing a car where you live. To me, that's like so much better. So coming from someone, Jeff and I both, like I was living in New York, Jeff was living outside of San Francisco. We both commuted like an hour to an hour and a half each way. I feel like it's like the old, what they used to say is like, I used to walk to work uphill both ways in the snow. Yeah. It's like, that's like the new thing. But we used to commute so far, and just not having to commute, not having to have a car, just like having 3 hours back in our lives every day. Like I would rather, I'm also not a car person. So if you are, like, I get that people love that. But nomads, you'll find most digital nomad locations are popular because you don't even, never mind not having to drive to an office. You don't even need a car to get around. Like most of the hotspots are walkable towns. It changes your life. You don't get stuck in traffic. You don't have to pay for cars and insurance. But mostly it's just your quality of life, not having to be in a car. Like when you can walk to a doctor's appointment or to meet your friends or to go on a hike and it's out your back door and you don't have to drive 40 minutes. It's just like, I don't know, life just feels better. Like coming from someone who has, I grew up in a city of cars. I've lived in cities without. I've traveled to, a gazillion different countries. And like when you can just walk everywhere in a town, it's life changing. So I feel like the new Flex is, you don't need the fancy Ferrari to like rev your engine and look cool. And sorry for you car people out there. I do know there's appreciation for like the mechanic of cars and all of that. So we're not talking about that, but just not having to have a fancy car to like no car, no commute. It just feels good. And that's why our company name is Beach Commute, because we just want to walk to the beach.
So it's two things. Two things are interesting. I do have my scooter here and I'm riding along the beach, and that's what I thought of when we were talking about the name. Here in Puerto Escondido, riding a bike, sunset,
yeah, that really was your
beach.
Vision.
Wow. That was, and I'm still doing it. I'm like, and I'm still pinching myself like, holy shit, this is so good.
Yep.
Second thing is I actually bought a nice car for home recently, a brand new car. And it's like a sporty car. It's nice. It's a nice car. But I don't want to drive it to work. Yeah. I want to drive it like on the back roads on a Saturday. Like I do like the car, but I do not see that as a status symbol. I see it as something that I enjoy doing, which is very, very different.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of plays into everything that we're doing as digital nomads. It's something that I like doing, not something that I want people to necessarily see and comment on.
I love that. That makes a big difference to me. Like if nobody ever saw you in that car, you would still enjoy it. I feel like that's the flex, if anything, is like just having something you enjoy. But yeah, I love the not having to drive to work, not having to spend time in it. Like you get to do the things you want if you want.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Amazing.
Number 2.
Let's jump into number 2. This one I'm passionate about. So I think this can be 2 ways. So this is the old flex. I feel like there's 2 actually I want to share, and the new one. So the old flex used to be like the cool office. So for me, when I was living in New York City, and I feel like probably for you out near like San Francisco, I feel like for like when I was just graduating college and just starting, like the coolest flex was like, my office has a ping pong table and a meditation room, and we have free snacks and food and like dry cleaning in our office. Like that used to be the flex. And now I would say the flex is like the world is your office. Like I'd rather, like, how many places have you sat, Jeff? Probably there in Puerto Escondido, where I was just in Costa Rica. So many places around the world where I, like, plop my little laptop down at some cafe or place, and my office view is an ocean. My office view is mountains in Bulgaria. My office is a lake in Guatemala. That's, like, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So I feel like you could also swap this, like an old Flex. I feel like the older Flex used to be like a corner office with like the window views versus like my office is a beach. Like my office is the mountains. So to me, like, I don't care how cool your office is. I'd rather also just work from bed if I feel like it. Like the Flex is not having to go into an office and to have the coolest offices with the most amazing views all around the world. What are your thoughts?
I mean, 100%. Yeah. I mean, this one's not even a question. Cool office. I mean, yeah, I guess it's better to work in a cool office, cool, quote unquote. What is a cool office? I don't know. Versus a shit office. I've also worked in a shit office. Like, couldn't see out of the windows, too cold, whatever, you name it. Shitty offices suck. But a better office is like still a goddamn office. It's still this weird, people have a weird mindset in an office. It's like this little tiny cult. It's really, really odd. I don't love it. So yeah, even I don't care if you got a ping pong table. You're basically just, there's an old expression. It's pretty terrible. It's called polishing a turd. And no matter how much you polish a turd, it's still a turd. So you can, there's only so much dressing you can put on this thing, and it's still gonna suck. The whole concept of it is bad. So yeah, what are some of the new things that there's? I mean, there's the classic Google examples, and this was like a trend maybe 10 years ago. But they had the nap pods, and then catered food was a more newish type of thing. They've got obviously the sports, ping pong. I think yoga sometimes, massages. I see they bring those into the office. They did something new. This is actually really relevant. The J.P. Morgan building. They had this is really interesting because J.P. Morgan recently implemented full RTO coming up soon.
That's return to office, if you're asking Jeff's favorite topic.
Full RTO, and you're seeing that with a lot of big companies, especially in finance, because they're just fucking sticks up their asses. It's so bad. But anyways, like they got them all to return to office. Meanwhile, they announced at the same time that their CEO was getting an increase from $33 to $38 million salary, and they announced record low salary, raises of 2 to 3% for most of their employees. And I got messages from their employees, from JP Morgan, directly from JP Morgan employees. They said, you don't understand. It's worse than you think. It's actually zero for a lot of people.
Chills.
It's zero for a lot of people.
Feels like SOS, help, like I'm trapped.
And everybody, I'm like, okay, what's the air in the office? What is the vibe? And they're like, the vibe is everybody wants to leave. Nobody likes this. This is terrible. This is directly from JP Morgan. And so recently, right after that announcement came out, JP Morgan was announcing this huge push for return to office. They built this, of course, they built a huge piece of real estate recently. And their features in this real estate to attract them back into the office are personal climate control, so it's warm enough to work in. Catered food.
Work at the beach instead.
So they feed you. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're really trying to justify this giant piece of real estate that they invested in. And yeah, so it's like catered food, this climate control, fancy climate controls. Like, come on, you're losing. You see where this is going. This is You're rearranging chairs in the Titanic is the expression that
just keep us with these expressions today, Jack.
I know, I'm rolling.
You're on it.
Really rolling here today.
But it is a good example. Again, I know living in New York, and I had a lot of friends who worked for Google, like that free food really kept people. It was like everything. It was good food. I've eaten there, but to me, I'd rather have the freedom and just like the amount you're saving on your commute and work clothes and whatever. Like you can pay for an awesome meal at a cafe in Bali 100 times over and have a beautiful view of the rice fields while you're at it. So that's my 2 cents.
Way better.
Number 3.
Okay. Number 3. This one doesn't really apply to me too much, but a closet full of fancy clothes versus fitting all of your clothes in one carry-on suitcase.
The latter applies to you.
The latter applies very well. You're looking at shirt 6 of 6. Actually,
you've never been a fancy clothes person. I've never. No. I'm more of like I
dressed nice when I went to the office. Like I had nice suits, nice ties, and all that shit. But I mean, I didn't really care. I don't care about fashion.
Yeah. But some people definitely do. This is an interesting one because even when you travel, a lot of people still like to look cute and do good. But I think the difference here is still, I know when I travel, like when you're home, I feel like wearing the latest trend and collecting the next thing it like feels kind of like keeping up with the Joneses of what you have to wear and the trends, what you have to do. Versus I feel like the new flex is like you can fit everything in a carry-on if you want, and life is less about the clothing and the price and the brand and just feeling good, like bringing things you love and having a more, not that you have to have a minimalist lifestyle, but that you can. And your clothing is just less important. Like I think this isn't quite what this is about, but I found this really interesting. There was a video I saw of somebody who was saying, this is kind of US specific, but she said she lived in Europe for a couple years. And when she came back to the US, she noticed like everybody looked sort of like a clone of trends. So if you think about, I think about like when I was in college and it was like everyone had the same North Face jacket. I went to school in a very cold place, but it's like North Face jacket, Uggs, leggings, like everyone wears the same thing. And when I come home to Atlanta, I see everybody wearing like the same Lululemon trend, or it's like there's these new trends where I'm like, why is everyone wearing this? And she was saying in Europe, like everybody had a really unique, like it wasn't about just being this, like getting the new thing that everyone else had. Everyone had a much more unique style of just individual things that they had found or bought from shops. So to me, I feel like that's even a little bit more of the flex of like, instead of having the fancy clothes or the thing that's new that everybody's wearing, just kind of having like your carry-on of clothes of things that you love and you feel good that maybe you've kind of like patched together from around the world and places you've been, and you have your own uniqueness. I think that's pretty cool still.
Yeah. For me, clothes
you could have 6 t-shirts like Jeff.
Totally functional. Actually, I got some fun tank tops for this trip. I have oh man, it's all in the laundry right now. Do you remember the 90s Dixie cup design?
Yes.
Yeah, I have.
You got a tank top of it? It took me a second. I was like the little...
Yeah. I also got a tank top print of a Lisa Frank folder. Do you remember
Where
the Lisa
did you
Frank
get these?
designs?
I do. I had them in like 3rd grade.
It's
second
got
grade.
the dolphins jumping in the sunset. It's incredible. I've got a...
I never would have picked that for you, Jeff.
I've got it. Really?
Never.
I wore it on LSD last weekend.
I knew you were going to say that.
Somebody looked at my shirt and they're like, oh, that was intentional, wasn't it?
I didn't know if we were going there, but I was like, I think you would wear that on LSD.
Yeah, I did. I've got a Dare. And then the next day I wore a Dare t-shirt for those of you a little bit younger.
I don't know that one.
Dare was it was like an anti-drug program in the 90s where they would come into our schools and teach kids that drugs were bad. It was drug abuse resistance education. That's what it stands for.
I don't know that one. Okay.
Yeah, so they'd come in like a few times a year and explain like all of the drugs out there and why they're bad. They discontinued the program because it taught all the kids about what all the drugs were. And then they went and did them. So they had to discontinue them. So I wear that the days after I wear my psychedelic shirt.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I know you're actually wearing a t-shirt today. If you go back, if you're watching on Spotify,
I had a meeting with a client. I had to. I occasionally have to meet with somebody.
This is why I was like the last several videos on Spotify. If you're watching there in our podcast, Jeff has been in tank tops, and every time you just haven't been in a tropical beach lately until now. And every time we hop on our calls, Jeff's in a tank top. I'm like caught off guard. I'm like, Jeff, you're in tropical land. So Jeff is living his best tank top life.
Tan too, like.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
More mezcal.
Going.
Keep drinking. I love this.
We're done with this.
I'm scared where this is going, but I love anyway. So that's the point. You can wear Lisa Frank LSD tank tops instead of like the coolest brand you have, and just make your little self happy. I love this. All right, with that, Jeff, what's number 4?
Okay, number 4. What have we got here? The coolest new kicks versus not wearing shoes at all. I know how you feel about this one, but I don't know how you feel about having nice shoes as well. I know you just want to walk around with no shoes or sandals, right?
I just want to be barefoot on the beach. So I have nothing against new kicks. Yeah, grounding and also well, if you haven't heard my rant on grounding, it's so healthy for you. Get your feet in the earth. It helps with like the electrical charge of your body. But beyond that, I actually have nothing. Like I'm if you're like a shoe person or like whatever, I feel like that's fine. However, to me, when I was in Costa Rica for a couple months, aside from playing pickleball, when I left to fly home in the airport, I put on other shoes, and I was like, this is the first time feel like I've worn shoes that like covered my toes.
For pickleball?
Except for pickleball. Pickleball is like the exception that I would put shoes on for. But otherwise, until I went home to the airport, I was like, why am I putting on shoes? So I always say, like, I measure the quality of my life by how little I have to wear shoes. Like, if I'm only wearing flip-flops occasionally, but, like, mostly walking around a town barefoot in the sand, like, if I don't need shoes, that's, like, my symbol for, like, I'm living my best life. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
thought you were going to say absolutely not.
No, I actually actively think of that, like, when I'm home and it's cold and I have to put shoes on. I hate it. Fuck, I really wish I could be wearing my sandals right now. Like, I don't want to put shoes on. I put shoes on to play pickleball. Like, and that's it here, because I can't play in sandals. So
you cannot. Yes. So anyway, new flexes. I mean, if you love your shoes, we get it. But instead of even having to wear shoes, mostly not having to wear shoes at all, or getting to wear flip-flops everywhere we go. That's the new flex of Nomad life, is you get to live in places that treat you like that. And to me, that's the best, versus like the shoes I had to wear to like at my corporate job. Like, no, thank you.
Oh God, no. Those are so fucking uncomfortable. Business casual. It's just so uncomfortable. Like the guys' shoes are just stiff leather, like painful on the toes. It's really bad. I really don't love it. And I'm sure, like, high heels, if you have to wear those, fuck, that's just not as good as flip-flops.
So bad for you, too. It's so bad for your body. So,
you're already tall, too. That probably makes you, like, towering over people.
I am really tall, so I luckily, like, didn't have to wear heels, I feel like, the way everyone else in the office did. Mm-hmm. However, the people who do, like, I know women who wore, like, I had my boss, I remember, she was shorter, and she wore shoes all the time, like, high heels all the time. And it shortens your, like, Achilles tendon, basically, if that's, like, the shape of your, like, the angle of your foot all the time. And so then when you're walking normally, like, your tendon doesn't stretch as well as it should, like, as long as it should. And it kind of fucks up your body. So anyway, I'm down for some heels for, like, a wedding or, like, a nice event here and there, like, for fun. But otherwise, like, barefoot, please.
Daily?
Almost never.
Yeah.
No, thank you. All right, what's number 5, Jeff?
Number 5 is one fancy vacation per year versus always being on vacation. I've actually got a fresh perspective on this.
Give it to me.
Just kind of wandering around Universal Studios, you see this classic, like, traditional family there. You know that they've spent or saved like a year's worth of salary so they can do this once a year vacation type of thing, and it costs an insane amount of money. And you could see that these people are just kind of like molded into the cultural expectation. That's what you do. You work hard, you raise a family, bring them to Universal Studios, spend all your money there, eat like $40 corn dogs, and go home. And it's really fucking depressing to see, because I know that's like, you're seeing so little of the world, and you're just handing money into this vacuum machine that is Universal. And it seems crazy to me where you've got the alternative of being on vacation all the time. Okay, so like when we're done here, I'm gonna be drunk and I'm gonna go down to the beach and I'm going to like go watch an insane sunset that I see every single day that goes for like an hour. And then we're going to go get some amazing food. And then next weekend, we're going to go to a bioluminescence lagoon. It's like every single day. And that would be something, you know, if you talk to some of the normies at home, they'll reflect on that from like 20 years ago. It's like, oh, you remember when we did the bioluminescence things? Like, no, we do that like, you know, every other weekend.
That's a Tuesday. That's a Friday.
That's just a normal Tuesday. Yeah. It's coming off as, this was the theme of flexing, right? So I am flexing.
It was. Jeff is flexing today. You are flexing. The normies. If you're listening, if you are a normie, we love you. And you're listening.
Yeah. Well, you're listening because you don't want to do this stuff. So.
Yeah.
Otherwise you wouldn't be here.
It's true. But yeah, I think this is probably the biggest flex of all that we don't talk about enough, but it's the point of Nomad life, which is even if you're not going to Universal, and I know some people, I'm personally not like the Disney person. I know some people are, and even if you were on vacation all year long, some people would travel just to other countries to go to all the Disney places around the world.
So Disney adults are weird though. That's a different
We apologize if you're listening. Jeff is just hating on everyone today. I personally am not either. But if you do that, you could go to Disney. I feel like we have friends who like went to Disney in Japan when they were there living for the month. Disney, like in Europe, you can go all over if that's your thing. But I think the coolest part is that, as Jeff said, like your whole life. I feel like we as nomads try to tell people, we're like, we promise we're not on vacation all the time. Like, we're really working, but you're in the places that are a vacation all the time if you want to be. I think that's what's so cool. Like, I was just in Costa Rica for the last 2 months, but I had some of my high school friends came to visit for a week, and it's like the 1 week of vacation each year, and they're like, please don't make me go home to winter. Like, don't make me leave the beach. And I'm like, why are we leaving? Like, don't.
We got everything here. Don't. Yeah.
Why aren't we all moving here together? I swear, eventually, I want a compound.
Yeah.
I want a compound. My friends know this. Every year, I think we're getting closer and closer to this compound. Yeah. It's going to happen.
We were talking about it with our friends here, too. It's like, and they brought it up like as a novel idea. I want to create this big space of land with a whole bunch of houses next to it, and we all live there. I'm like, yeah, that's our cult compound. We've been
we've been talking about it forever. You start it, I'll show up. If I start it, you come. I'm in. But whatever it is, like, we've been traveling over, but I just think the whole point is, instead of that 1 week of vacation per year, like I used to look forward to, where I was like, now I get to be at the beach, I get to be by the palm trees and the tropical lands. Like, if that's your thing, you can be there 12 months of the year if you want, or if mountains are your thing, or skiing in Europe and then Japan and then, you know, traveling around the world, like whatever you like, you can have year around. As Jeff said, like, every night you walk out to sunset on the beach instead of your one special trip a year. Every weekend you're doing bioluminescent bays and you're riding your scooter around to the coolest new places. Like, just your life is a vacation, even though you're still working, and that is very real. But, like, your surroundings, I should say, always get to be a vacation. I think that is such a huge flex over, like, here's my one amazing fancy hotel for the week once a year. To me, like, hands down all the time.
Marriott overlooks a pool. And yeah, yes. Exactly. That ties in really well to the next one. And that is a house with a fence versus houses all over the world that you get to stay in. This is kind of fun because I don't know if you've ever done this. Have you ever looked at your Airbnb review history? Like, where you've... Like,
I did recently. I don't usually, but I was looking at something the other day on Airbnb, and it was reviews of like all the places. I was like, I was in Latvia, I was in Valencia, Spain. Like, I forgot I even was in all these places. I was like, cool.
I think I counted, like, I've had 90 locations that I've been attached to in Airbnb and stayed in. So yeah, like, I was part of the invite, or I booked it. Either one of those. The ones that, like, I was actually on the booking, so it's actually probably double that. So I've at least stayed in, I don't know, 200 different locations while traveling. Gotta be. And I'm sure yours is the same or more. So
yeah, I've never counted. Sounds like a lot, but I'm like, it's probably
I was curious. I'm like, because it's been so many different living locations. It's kind of fun to think of it.
Yeah, it's wild. But I think this one, like, I also, like, I love a good house. I feel like I'm not much about purses and clothes and shoes and, like, fancy things, but I do love a good house, and I'm ready to have that as a base sometime soon. But just looking at the flex of, like, if you could have just, like, only, your one house with the fence and the things and, the mediocre place, whatever, versus, like, you get houses all over the world. Imagine you have, like, 200 houses. I know they're not yours. You don't own them in the same way, but there's there's pros and cons to both, and it's nice to kind of, like, have your physical place. So not knocking that for the sake of this flex. That's how we compared it. But it is so cool. Like, Jeff, think about all the Airbnbs we've stayed at over the time of, like, I think in Guatemala, I stayed at, like, the coolest Airbnb, like, in this land of palm trees on the beach, and then at, like, a witchy house in Antigua, and then I don't know, like, think about, like, I know you stay at some cool Airbnbs, like, in the middle of nowhere, South Africa, on your whale trail, and
such cool Airbnbs.
Such cool Airbnbs, with, like, rooftops in Mexico, and so, I guess it's just, like, if you're doing that all the time and you're not paying your mortgage and you're not paying rent, and even if you're making enough, you can have both, but the flex to me is, like, maybe at different points of your life, you need and want different things, but to have the ability to have, like, homes that you get to experience all over the world, and, like, the views that you see and the locations and the culture and the places you can walk to. Jeff is, like, beaming from this. I can see it's so cool.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain. It's almost like, imagine some of the most beautiful, like, wallpaper sceneries that you've seen on a computer, but you're there in a house. And because it's like, what would you call it? Like the shared economy, where you like share things and rent anything that you want, rent cars, rent houses and stuff. You get to have a piece of that for a moment. You don't have to be attached to all of the responsibilities of that house and the taxes and the upkeep and everything. You get to have like a little piece of it for a moment and then move on to the next piece for a moment, and how all these combined memories of the most beautiful landscapes you've ever seen. Like, you'd never believe that you could actually be part of that. It's incredible. Yeah, looking back on some of these houses, what we should do, I think, is maybe in my newsletter, I'll just share the coolest of my shitty pictures of the places I've stayed. Yeah, it's just, these things are mind-blowing. And those are the pinch me moments where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I get to have access to this. Live here? And I'm a normal dude, like not rich, like not even close. Just living. Yeah.
And also, I remember maybe after the first like 4 months I'd lived as a nomad, and I remember coming back to Atlanta and just talking to my friends, and I was like, what are you guys doing this weekend? And maybe they were talking about what they did the weekend before or whatever. We were like out, hanging for dinner. And they were like, oh yeah, I just spent like all Sunday like mowing my lawn, and I spent all of Saturday like doing repairs on my house. And I just remember like I had just come back from like island hopping in Bali and like exploring all of Thailand, and then like going to Cambodia, and then like flying to Singapore. And I just remember thinking how amazing it was not to have the responsibility, like the time it took them all weekend to like do repairs and mow their lawn and do whatever, like the experiences I was getting to have. I just remember being like, why are you doing this? So again, I do really get, especially so many of us after nomading so long, like do want a house in a stable place also. So not knocking that, but just to think about it in a different way. If you haven't lived this lifestyle, like really how amazing it can be.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Right before we move on to the next one, I want to say, if by chance you are listening to this and you're not yet on our email list and you are ready to get a remote job and travel the world and live this lifestyle, check out beachcommute.com/email. We send out remote jobs each day, some awesome tips to help you get a remote job and live this life. And if you're curious to check out over 300 companies that let you work from anywhere while you travel, you can go to beachcommute.com/atlas to check out our database there. So with that, Jeff, what's next?
Okay, next on the list, we've got a fancy watch versus not caring what time it is. Have you had a fancy watch before?
I'm not a watch person. I don't want to watch on me. I don't want to know what time it is, so I guess not.
I used to have a couple watches. I was a little bit of, like, not a fancy watch person, like, I don't know, $100 watch, something like that, $150 watch. They looked nice with a suit. Like, it's kind of nice because it looked kind of good. It really only worked in the context of a suit. Like, it wasn't really, and it wasn't functional. I really, like, how often I'm actually checking the time on my wrist. I now never. So yeah, like that just immediately is gone from my purview. Like, I don't need a watch. I don't want a watch. I can't get a watch wet on the beach. It makes zero fucking sense to have a watch for me now. Like, none whatsoever.
There are waterproof watches, but this one is a little bit of a play of like, don't want to watch. I know, don't want to watch, but fancy watches versus not caring what time it is. We are aware sometimes you have meetings, sometimes you do have things, but as a whole, just like as a lifestyle, it's like less about just like time and commute and this and that. And the ultimate flex as you progress in your nomad life is getting to companies that are completely asynchronous. So even though you're getting your work done, it can be 2 a.m, it can be 2 p.m, it can be 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. So like truly a watch actually does start to matter less. It doesn't really matter as much what time it is when you get a job that lets you work whenever you want, as long as you get it done. So whether you like watches or not, like the play on that, but like that is very real to be able to have so much time freedom versus like, I think back to my corporate life where I was like setting my alarm for like 6:20 a.m. to get out the door and get to work early and like had to be there for like it was so stressful, and I don't want that. So
yeah, I'd say like 75% of my work meetings are with you, and the majority of the time it's like, hey, need like 8.5 minutes or something, and
we start a little later.
Really like it's time is
finishing pickleball.
Quite is. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and yeah, if you text me, I'm finishing pickleball. Oh, fuck yeah! I just want to hear about it afterwards. Like, how are your drop shots? Yeah, give me that. Okay, cool. Let's move on to number 8, and this one
I think this is my favorite one of all.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay, so it's having a fancy title versus not telling anyone what you even do. Tell me why that is your favorite one on the list.
Okay, so much when I was living in New York, especially, I lived in Los Angeles for a few years. I think it's a lot of US culture in general. When you meet someone, one of the first questions they will ask you, you're like, "Hi, I'm Marissa." And they're like, "Oh, hi, what do you do?" And everything is about what you do. And even if you're like, "Hey, I have this new boyfriend." They're like, "What do they do?" Like everything about, I feel like, life in the US and it varies by city, but as a whole, the country, it's like all about what you do of that is your identity. It's like everything that matters. People make assumptions about you and your life and how much money you make and status and all of that. And what's so cool, I know we've mentioned this here and there on the podcast, but if you haven't heard this before, like as travelers, it's almost not the last thing anyone will ever ask you about, but I would say often in the first 30 minutes, an hour, sometimes days or weeks of meeting someone, you have no idea what they do. Like if I met you and I never met you before, I'd just be like, how'd you end up here in Mexico? Like, where were you before? What are your favorite places to go to? Like, there's a zillion other conversations and you end up talking about like, oh, pickleball, or I knew this person who also traveled there, or I'm trying to go there, or like some deep conversation about life usually. And like we talk about this, sometimes we'll have friends that we've traveled with for days, weeks, months sometimes, and every now and then I'm like, wait, what do you even do? Like I have no idea. And it doesn't matter. And unless there are people who are very passionate, like when it is something you truly just love what you do, and maybe it comes up with that, but it's not because it's how much money you make or your identity. But anyway, to me, like, again, just knowing so much of people work for promotions and fancy titles, and it's so important to your identity and being proud to say that, versus like, really, it doesn't matter at all. It's like you're making a living and you're living, and that's what people care about. So that's my rant for there. Add on, as you will.
I think it's an appropriate rant because I think it's probably the ultimate measuring stick of how in our culture you establish a hierarchy and how successful you are. I mean, this goes all the way down to your family being proud of you or not proud of you. You know, does your mom say, "Hey, my son's still living at home," or "My son is a doctor," you know, that kind of thing. It's even stronger in some cultures. Like it's not just North American cultures. It's really strong.
Yeah, so true.
It's funny. As we were talking about this, I pulled up my group list here in Puerto Escondido in the WhatsApp chat, and I'm reading through, and I'm like, okay, I kind of know what she does. I don't really know what she does. I got a vague idea what she does. No idea what she does. No idea. Never told me. I don't even know who that person is. Know what that person does. Know what that person, like 2 out of 12. I could say what I know what they do. I don't
amazing.
know. Like because
these are people you're like hanging out with most days.
Yeah,
there
every day. And and I mean us as digital nomads, we kind of measure the quality of a person based on who they are, how they interact with you, how they are with other people. It's like, okay, this is a cool person or this is not a cool person. Don't really care what they do. I'm not impressed by titles. Half of them just burned out from the corporate life too, so I just assume that everybody just kind of has some sort of burnout from the corporate life and is doing this now for a purpose, and we're all kind of similar. So that's this is a whole podcast topic.
It is.
We're gonna have to.
So passionate, but even if you just hear that little bit and that's sounding appealing to you, of like, oh, like the quality of someone's character and life and adventure is more exciting than their job title, then like get your remote job and come live digital nomad life, because it is for you. All right, what's number 9 on the list?
This one's more for you because I want you to unpack it a little bit because I don't quite understand what it is.
I got you.
Going to a fancy private school versus the world is your school. I don't quite get what you're saying.
Jeff is like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You will when I say this, but at least in the U.S., there's so much about, especially New York, L.A., other big cities. If you've ever seen parents stressing about when their kids are 1, 2, 3 years old about like what school they're getting into, where they're going to, and like my kid got into this school, my kid got into that school. And it is important, like for a lot of people, like child's education is like you want them to thrive and be well educated and learn. However, like I feel like a cool flex, and you know, to each their own, and maybe you don't even want kids, maybe you have kids, whatever it is, but just the fact that like the world is your school as a digital nomad. And so many nomads who have kids just talk about, you know, you could read about, you know, history, or like you're reading about the, you know, pyramids of Egypt in your history book, versus like you are standing at the pyramids in Egypt and learning what went on there while you are there. So to me, it's just like being able to culturally learn from places around the world that you explore, from people that you meet, from just having the world be your school and schooling as you exist in different places and learn about different places, I just think is so cool versus just like, I got into this fancy private school. So again, to each their own, zero judgment of your life and all of that. I went to a very typical school in that way, but I feel like the world has schooled me so much more, and it's just a cool opportunity to just, as a nomad, you get to learn. I feel like you learn so much that you wouldn't otherwise learn by being in different cultures and different countries and places and learning from local people all around.
Oh, it's taught me so much more than I actually don't think I learned a ton in my college that was really applicable to any part of my life. I mean, I guess it was just work ethic, I would say, and maybe it's more of a East Coast thing, but I don't think we feel the prestige of colleges affect quite as much on the West Coast. I mean, there's still like, you go to Berkeley or something like that and people are kind of proud of that, and then you ask them like which textbook they're reading out of, and it's the same exact one as my local college. Like, I don't quite get the draw for that, and I don't understand the, you know, I guess if you invest your $200,000 in that school and you get a better job, it'll pay off. But yeah, that one never quite made sense to me. And now with all of our friends, it makes zero sense to me. It's like this is like even before the job title conversation, you know?
Yeah. It's an interesting one, but I think it's just, I just think it's interesting to consider that as a flex of what it could be if you're home versus, and this is different every country, but just having a school you care about versus like the world being your school, I think it's just so cool that you even have that option. All right, what's next, Jeff?
Next one's probably a little bit more for me than you. It's having a personal chef versus eating the best local food from every cuisine. Personal chef, that probably only applies to a very small subset of our listeners. If any of them, that's a pretty expensive flex. I haven't met many people that have had a personal chef, although I will say, we have had personal chefs in Airbnbs when we've traveled.
True.
Quite
a few.
I mean, it's usually like if we're renting a huge place with a bunch of people that you get a personal chef, or if we're doing something really special, but you're able to pull that off but I've never been in a situation in the States where people just had a personal chef around.
Very rare.
It's very rare.
But the flex, I feel like that's, again, it's here. Just like if that's what
yeah.
you're aiming for, the point is that. But talk about that versus like what you get access to as a digital nomad.
Yeah, it's digital. Here's a really good example. You wouldn't expect a just little beach town. I think you usually just expect kind of nomad food-ish type of stuff. There's a huge variety of food here, and there's a lot of like very, very good food. I actually went to a tasting, like one of those fixed course meals that was, I don't know, like 8 or 9 courses long. It's incredible. It's one of the best I've ever had.
And Puerto Escondido?
Yeah.
That is so surprising.
It's wild, right? There is
I never would have thought that.
Really, really good food and restaurants here. So yeah, and this is just one example that was kind of a surprise, but we go to places where you get such unique cultural dishes. Like when we were in Georgia, the dumplings, Kinkali dumplings, and what was that other one? That bread,
what is the
cheese bread.
The cheese bread with the eggs in it. I forget what it's called. I always forget
that
so
one.
Good.
I'll have to look it up. But I mean, and then if you go to, you could tell maybe a little bit about like some of the Asian cuisine, because I know you love the Thai street food.
I was gonna say Thai. Yes, you know me so well. That was the only thing on my mind thinking about with this. But like I don't know, just having a chef make you whatever versus getting $2 pad thai on the street in Thailand. And it's so good. It's like the best food you will ever have. So anyway, it's always nice to even have a personal chef. That would be amazing wherever we go. Not to knock that, but just whatever that might be. Of like eating, we could even replace that with like eating at the nicest restaurants in your city versus like the nicest Thai restaurant you could get to is not even going to begin to compare to the local Thai food that you get on the street in Thailand. And, insert that with any country you want to go to, just getting to experience that.
It's Khachapuri.
What's it called?
Khachapuri.
I don't even think that's like how I thought it was pronounced, but it's so good. If you haven't had it,
it's unbelievable. It is.
It looks like a boat of. It's almost like a pizza dough crust, like on both sides, but like a boat shape filled with cheese and egg.
like a canoe with like Yeah, like cheese on the inside and then an egg in the middle. Yeah.
Just Google like Georgia cheese bread and you will get pictures that come up
Yeah.
if you can't spell it. All right, what's the next? This is an interesting one. I have thoughts on both, but what's number 11?
Forever friends versus meeting new friends from new cultures all the time. Give me your thoughts.
This is an interesting one because I love my forever friends also. So I feel like the flex that people have is like, I've known my friends for 30 years. And I actually wouldn't want to replace this. I think both are important. But I do think there is a flex to meeting new people and new friends who like evolve and kind of meet you in a different place of your life where you're at. So I just think it's so cool that I have met and made friends, like good friends with people from so many different countries who are not only from different countries, but I met them, you know, in a different country while traveling, and just to get a wealth of like different cultural knowledge and different ideas and different socioeconomic statuses and races, ethnicities, religions. I just think it's been so cool. Like, again, I love my forever friends, but we're going to be very similar because we grew up in the same neighborhood and place and school versus people that you meet along the way that just sort of really expand your wealth of, I don't know, understanding humans. So again, I wouldn't say like get rid of your forever friends, like again, just for the way this podcast is set up. But I do think it is a cool flex to have friends from all over the world and to be able to learn from so many different people and cultures.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of tough with the forever friends because a lot of times you think of your hometown forever friends and it dwindles down to like two. Like, I mean, I've got a few more than 2 home forever friends, but you've said this before. You have less and less in common with the people from your hometown every single year. I mean, you come home and all of their time is gone. They've got a kid and they're going to Universal Studios and eating corn dogs. And you know, the list gets smaller and smaller as you get older. And it seems to grow as you travel because you keep meeting new and interesting people all over the place, locals, more travelers, and yeah, just amazing people. This really, really important one. I'm glad that one was on the list.
Yeah. All right, the next one, we've got 3 more. This one will be a quick one.
Yeah, this one's really quick. All right, a massive TV versus watching real life views from a new rooftop every week. Even the person with a massive TV would probably take the real views, right? I mean, is a massive TV a huge flex? Like, sometimes it is. Like, dudes.
It is I feel like if you're a dude
right?
and a sports watcher,
yeah.
You're like, look at my giant TV.
Look at my giant TV. And the other guys come over and go, cool, big TV, nice. It's so big.
I've never heard you say this voice.
It's the biggest TV. It's enormous.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I appreciate a nice big TV when I'm watching a movie or Netflix from time to time as well. Like, we're not knocking that, but it's really interesting having just left Costa Rica for 2 months. I didn't watch, I don't think, a single show once I was there. And again, I love a good show binge sometimes, so I'm not like excluding that, but just being there, I joke. I have a lot of my friends who've come back each year for like 4 years now. We always sit, there's like these rocking chairs in the front porch and you can see the ocean and there's these trees in front where it doesn't sound very exciting when I'm saying this, but it's like wonderful to watch. If like you're like watching iguanas like climb up in trees and there's like monkeys that will just like swing on by and there's like these birds of all different kinds flying and just people walking around. And there's something to it where I always joke when I'm there, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching a TV show, but I'm just watching nature. I'm just like being outside and looking at beautiful views, and then insert that with like, again, I don't know why Guatemala's on my mind today, but these amazing views of like the prettiest lake in Guatemala, like views in Cape Town, watching a sunset over Lion's Head. Like, you just end up seeing cool nature and beautiful places more than watching TV. Again, not to say nomads do some Netflix binging from time to time, but just as a whole, I feel like you watch less TV and you actually like get to be in beautiful places and just look at it.
I can see it when I go home. I watch more TV. It's just,
I definitely do.
It's weird. It's weird. It's just like, I don't know. And when I'm here, I know when the laptop's shut, I'm going somewhere. I'm going to sports. I'm going to somewhere. You're going somewhere. Somebody's meeting somewhere or sunset. I don't know. But like, when you're home, at least, especially in the winter, you shut the laptop, it's dark out, and you're like, well, TV time. What am I going to do? Like, especially in my small town. So it's don't love that. It's not a great feeling just knowing that your end of your day is going to be capped off with Netflix. It's not awesome. It's not as good as the Great View.
Yeah, like watching sunset at the end of the day, surfing at, like, I spent so much time in Costa Rica, and one of the places, like, surfing every day at sunset, and just going home, showering, eating, and going to sleep, and it just felt so good. So again, I am not knocking, like, when I'm home in Atlanta, I'm like, give me my TV shows at night, because I don't care about what's outside, and it's not as pretty, and I don't need to explore, and I'm not seeing as many people, so
there's a place for it.
There's a place, but I feel like it's a cool flex to be like, you get to watch sunset and play spike ball on the beach, or volleyball, or surf as sunsets, or like wherever, you're going to a cool new restaurant in Argentina or whatever it is. So it's a different feel.
Yeah. Okay. Next, no matter your TV, no matter the size of your TV. Let's leave it at that. A gym membership versus surfing, hiking, and walking through new cities every day. So I think the comparison here is really, if you break down the core of it, a gym membership, going somewhere dedicated to work out, and you might be a little bit limited in where you actually can work out. Whereas if you're traveling, you have a lot more maybe fun options where you get the calories burned, you get the exercise in like more of an adventurous kind of way, more of a memorable type of way. You're doing surfing, playing pickleball, because these new opportunities open up. Whereas if you're just in, that concrete jungle, you don't have quite as much of that. You don't have the Lion's Head hike in Cape Town, which is your exercise for the day.
And that's some people's like honeymoon destination, once in a lifetime thing. And that's just every day if you want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the kind of gist that we were getting at with that one, right? Like the gyms can also be a bit of a status symbol. There's kind of a thing to it. I've talked to people before. Oh, I'm a member of blah, blah, blah gym. I'm like, I don't give a shit. It's like, oh, it's got hot tubs. Like I just double down. I
got
double.
Natural springs.
I double don't give a shit. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, not for me. I haven't seen the inside of a gym in years and years and years. I don't plan to.
Yeah, and I do go to a gym from time to time when I'm traveling, depending on the city I'm in and what's there. But again, I think just having the option to do some of these incredible natural other activities that are once in a lifetime vacation things can be your workout. Like you can go paddle boarding in the ocean, you can go kayaking, you can go boxing in Mexico. That's one of my favorites, and that's like a little bit gymmy, but it's just there's things, I don't know, instead of having like the one status gym, like there's so many options of cool things you can do.
But I forgot that you boxed.
Yeah, it's been a while since I haven't felt so well in the last long while. But yeah, being in Mexico, there's a gym in Playa del Carmen that's like this local, it was some guy's garage that he turned into like an amateur boxing gym, and now everyone, it's like in this super local Mexican neighborhood. It's like one of my favorite places in Playa, and I love it. I love it so much. Yeah,
boxing's great. I did that back in college. It is such an incredibly difficult sport to do. Like you have to be in amazing physical fitness. At the same time, you have to be extremely focused when somebody's trying to hit you. Like you're playing chess while you're out of breath. I don't do as much like actual boxing as much as like, hitting the bags. And, so it's very, very meditative, and like either way, it feels good to like get great. Like, I'm like, I never knew I needed to punch something so badly until you punch a bag and you're like, every part of stress just left my body. Amazing sport. Yeah, anyway, it's a cool one. I don't think I ever thought about that before traveling, of like all the cool different types of like workout activities and sports and things I get to do along the way that I wouldn't do otherwise. So if that's up your alley, or even if you're like a runner, like running in the most amazing places in the world versus... I'm a runner, so that I love doing that. Whenever I go somewhere, I find the route, like the best routes. When I was in Georgia, it was around this beautiful lake, and it's just perfectly serene in the morning with like a little mist. It's like, oh my God, this is incredible. Here, it's just along the beach. It's 5 miles down to Zicatela back. Perfect, exactly 5 miles. Like, it's gorgeous, just running along the beach. Yeah, exactly. And it's like everywhere I go, there's a new, beautiful running course. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, there's so much coolness to that. All right, the very last one on the list, and I think this is probably the most epic thing, which is instead of weekend brunch reservations with your friends 6 weeks in advance so everyone can go, the one place you've chosen that you've probably been before, versus weekend trips to epic places. I think we've talked a lot of, like, this is something I didn't really imagine existed or have an awareness of before I started living as a digital nomad. So when you live somewhere for a whole month, I remember like when I landed in Bali, which is the destination
so many people go once in a lifetime. My weekend trips were to these other islands off of Bali that like I didn't even know existed, would never have time to get to if I didn't travel.
More paradise. Give me more paradise.
More paradise. But every place you go, like my weekend, like living in Antigua, Guatemala, that is a destination of its own. Again, Guatemala's on the mind today for some reason. But then like the weekend trips were to like a beach nearby, to like the lake nearby, which is the most beautiful thing in the world, to some like waterfalls somewhere. But the weekend trips you do are so cool versus like when I'm home, I'm like, hey guys, want to go get dinner tonight at that same restaurant we've been going to for 20 years? Like there's a time and a place for that. And I love to come home to that from time to time. But man, just the difference in the lifestyle there of the epic like experiences and things you do, or even if you're staying in Puerto Escondido, it's like you're out on the beach and you're playing pickleball in a new place and you're like watching sunset, and I know for me I was like surfing on the whatever it is, right? It's just like the weekend experiences that you get to have are so different than just like want to meet for brunch. And I've been there, I've done it, I've lived that lifestyle, not knocking it, but like it's really cool to have the weekend experiences. It
is just so hard to coordinate at home.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. If people, the distance is different. When you're here, like when you're on a trip with your friends, all you do is get into, usually you got a WhatsApp group with whoever's in the area, right? You say, hey, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. You want to join me? And all of a sudden, just
like
people.
In that moment, yeah.
In that moment.
Walking down the beach for a sunset. Anybody want to join? Like
I just got a message. Going to volleyball and sunset. Meet people there. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll see my friend.
Done.
Like in a snap, I'm going to go see a bunch of my best friends. Whereas like at home, it would take so much coordination.
I've been trying to coordinate a pickleball. I feel like pickleball is a theme of this one too, with 5 of my friends here, like 5 of my guy friends. It got canceled the other night because it was too cold. It's like a week later.
Cold.
Half the people, it dropped really cold in Atlanta for
so
like
much better
yesterday.
To play in the cold. Oh my god!
Really?
I love playing in the cold.
It was like really cold and wind. I don't know. Whatever. We
the wind
canceled.
Sucks. The wind sucks.
It was a weirdly windy night. It was like a very weird thing. Yeah. But anyway, it's like, could we do next Wednesday, next Friday, next Sunday? Can't do that. It's like, come on. Like it's different.
Yeah. It is very, very different. Yeah. So is that it? Is that our list? No bonuses this week?
No bonuses. I feel like we like did everything under this. You got any in mind?
No, I got nothing else. I think that's it. I think it's all
Mezcal
the flexes.
in Mexico versus
pretty
versus
damn
drinking
good.
At home. That's for Jeff.
Versus a beer at home. Beer at home's good, but mezcal in Mexico. On my way to a beach doing a podcast on a Friday. Fucking hey, that's pretty good. Wouldn't get much better than that.
This can be your life. So if you listen to this, I know some of these were a little bit cheeky, but you get the point, and it's such an amazing lifestyle. So if you are thinking about it, if this is sounding exciting, if you're a hell yes to all of this, we encourage you to take the leap and live this lifestyle. We have so many people who have listened to this podcast who have written us in and said, like, I just listened to this. I binged these episodes for months, and I did it, and I changed my life. So if you're listening, you absolutely can too. And again, if you're not on our email list, go to beachcommute.com/email. We're here to help you get a remote job. Lots of job listings, lots of remote companies, and beachcommute.com/atlas if you want to check out our database. And you can also just check out the show notes. It will be there as well. And lastly, if you haven't already done so, if you could leave a little 5-star review.
What are we at? 97?
97. I know more people have done it. Sometimes I think the count isn't right. I feel like it's just not even, I don't know. Whatever it is.
Listeners. Why are they? Come on, people.
We're so close to the ayahuasca episode. It's going to be a fun time. So leave a 5-star review if you appreciated this episode or anything else you have listened to. It really helps other people find it. It'll keep us going so you get more Mezcal and Jeff and fiery conversations about travel life. And also, if we've been doing some fun episodes from questions that you guys have written in. I feel like we're getting lots of emails and comments lately with really fun questions and topic ideas. So if there's something you've been dying for us to talk about and we haven't covered it yet, we really do record those episodes. So let us know. Anything else, Jeff?
No, I'm going to the beach. I'm out of here.
Mic drop. Jeff's going to the beach. I'm going out. Yes, I'm not at the beach today, but I'll be back soon. Good. And with that, we will see you guys next week.